Okay, you have refused to dance. So next time I'll only have one open key. Don't sing. Okay, so I'm not sure whether there's still anything for me to say in terms of what we read. Those who are listening and seeing, and those who have eyes have seen. My sermon was planned. Unless someone missed something, especially at the end, that's the whole sermon. It's done. The two girls are close to me. So for them, there was a division to say, who do you love more? That was the question. These other things they were saying, those were minor things. They all came to me. Now what about me? Okay? That's the same. It was not planned, but I knew if you do things that way, the same one will come out, and it came out. But let's go into the word a little bit. We are not going to spend much time because we've already done it. When we look at the scriptures we have read today, this whole book of Exodus is mainly on the deliverance, redemption. And it covers in the major part, or the whole book rather, this Exodus. You know, when we were in school, you know, especially Form 1, when you're starting to read English literature, hear this word, mass exodus. And when you go in the public, you get so excited using it that you never know where it's coming from. So this book was written by Moses. The key message of it, like I said, talks about deliverance. It has a lot of miracles in there. But for unbelievers, the miracles don't make sense. And if your faith is little, if you are challenged, you can give up the discussion. So it's a book that looks, or when you read it, looks straightforward, but it's a bit complex because the miracles are basic. Let me put it like that. But in their act, they are profound. Let's start by looking at Moses himself briefly. During that time when Moses was born, there was an instruction from the Pharaoh to say the Hebrews or the Israelites must not increase in numbers. That was the general instruction. So how do you achieve that? Pharaoh instructed the midwives, then those who grew up in the villages, you know those stories. Okay, these days people are doing those courses as nurses, midwives, and that. To say, make sure you kill these children, that these people don't. But for some reason, they continued to increase, to multiply. And Pharaoh was disappointed. He said, it looks like my instruction is not being followed. What is happening? But being a powerful man, you expect a response. You don't expect people to keep quiet. So the midwife said to the Pharaoh, no, we don't have much control. Because Hebrew women, they are very strong. They are stronger than Egyptian women. So they can give birth without assistance. So there's nothing, we can't kill those children. Then he says, okay, let me escalate it. Another directive came. Whenever there are children born from these people, when it's a son, make sure you throw into the river. But when it's a daughter, the Bible says, save them alive. If you were in a class, you then go into what was the intention of saying, save the girls alive. There's an emphasis there. So Pharaoh was now getting disappointed to say, my plans or my instructions are not being followed, hence that instruction. But because the whole story in this book is about deliverance. Moses' mother gave birth to him and kept Moses as a toddler up to 3 months. But as we know these things, you can hide up to a certain extent. But when you get to a certain point, you can hide. There come a time, even if you are using what you call these primers and whatever, as parents, but you'll come to a point where you can't, because the child is grown, you can't keep on using the primer or a basket. You can't. Somehow the child has to be let loose. And what do you do when there's a standing instruction? So Moses' mother decided to say, no, let me just put it in a basket, put it like, wrap it like it's a useless thing, just put it in it on the bank of a river. And she did that. But when Pharaoh's daughter and her maids went to that river, they saw something floating. I said, what is this? Open it, find this beautiful. Yes, the Women's Fellowship President said, you are all women. And the most beautiful thing that a woman wants is to carry that one. Very few, of course, don't want it. But 99.99999% they want to carry their own baby. So it doesn't matter whether it's their own baby, but they always feel something different when they see a baby. So Pharaoh told us all this beautiful, but he said, no, let's do something. Remember, God is working through basic things, simple things. But I think she also had a challenge to say, if I take this boy home, what will my father say? But God, being God, gave an idea to the maids. The maids said, no, we can look for a Hebrew woman too, until the boy is born. And that happened. Because God had a plan. But the maids, most of us, we know it. It's a job that in some people, environments, we don't value it. Even if they say something valuable, no, it doesn't matter because you are not valuable. But in this case, she never hesitated to take that advice. The plan of God is okay. So, whatever happened, happened. But the end result of this deliverance of this boy from probably the crocodiles at a certain stage in his life, he ended up making in Pharaoh's court, which would have been by then unheard of. So what I'm saying is, this is the start of this story, and the whole issue is about simple and basic miracles. They are not complicated. And as I said already, if your faith is very little and you are challenged on these miracles, you will say, I want to put the Bible is lying. But let's go a little bit deeper into it. This is the beginning of these small and little things. So when we focus mainly on Exodus, when we look at the start of this chapter, the Israelites as a community are now moving. But when you read it, it's like they were just moving. But the Bible tells us they were moving in accordance with the commandment of God. As much as the whole story gives us a picture of disorganized people, but there was something that God was doing with them. As they moved, we know every year when there's a drought in Namibia, it carries big news in the newspapers. And for some of us who are not farmers and who are getting our water from City of Hindu, we end up asking, what is this hype about the water? Because for us it doesn't make sense. I'm still getting the water out of the tap. But ask a farmer. They are worried. There is no grass. For me, if I need food, I go to supermarket. So to say there is drought, yeah, it's nothing. But because the Israelites had their own type of life, and the key part of that life was water. When they moved and got to when they are in the desert, they get to a place, resting place. They now ask to say, we now need water, and they can't find it. But what happens? They started quarreling. That's the whole issue. They started quarreling with Moses because there was no water. They never said we are now hungry. They said there is no water for us to drink and for animals. What I say as a farmer. But for me, if I get water in the it's fine. Like I said, the whole thing looks like. So if there is no water, so what? Because we are thirsty. But that presented challenges to Moses. Just remember in chapter 16, he had a challenge with them when they were then hungry. And then he prayed to God. And the manna he prayed came down. For those in the police, you know what it is to deal with an angry mob. You are not sure the next action that will come out of them. So the thing that comes to your mind is your security. Despite that, I've been carrying that gun, but someone can just throw the stone or a bottle on your head. So you get worried. So Moses also, being a human being, he was not worried to say, what do I do to these people? But he realized something. I once did it. And yes, they forgot. They have forgotten that they've been given manna. Now they're crying about water. Some even went to the extent of saying, why did you bring us here? You should have left us in Egypt. The question is, was Egypt at this stage, and even that time when we moved out of Egypt, an option to remain in Egypt? Was it an option? We know it as human beings as well. It happens to us. You get someone to help someone, feed the person every day. The next thing is the person will tell you, but Krista is, I don't know. You know, yes, she buys food, but when I want clothes, she doesn't buy me clothes every day. But herself, she's buying herself every day. But me, I only wait for Christmas. This is our human nature. But we forgot what brought me to Krista. What brought the Israelites to this point where they are saying, but we don't have water, you should have left us in Egypt. They forgot about that. The absence of water has become a big issue. Moses has become a problem himself. Not a solver, not a leader, but he is now the problem because he brought them here. And we know we experience that as Christians. And I know as Christians we also do that with others. We don't only experience, we also do it. Your decision, whatever you're planning for, will it always be a good option for you? And you ask yourself, is it really the real issue that we have? Everything good that was done to you, all the blessings that God had given you, had blessed you with, you have forgotten because of this single season drought. You have forgotten everything. But Moses said to them, Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you tempt God? That was one of the key, and it is still key laws. Do not test the Lord your God. And Moses said, do not test the Lord your God as you tested him at Massah. How many times do we test God as Christians? How many times as the followers of Christ do we test Christ? How many times as church members do we test leaders? How many times as leaders do we test other Christians? The whole thing will be in the presence of God. When you are in the presence of God, you are no longer testing that individual. You are now testing God because you are all in the presence of God, and God is not for those quiet. Even Jesus himself said, you know it is written in the law, you shall not tempt the Lord your God. But we continue to do it. But we forget. Probably in the times when we have meetings as leaders, you end up asking yourself, are we discussing a business here or we are discussing God? We forget what we are doing. I'm not saying I'm an exception. I'm saying what we are as people. We need to confess. You end up asking, are we talking about the kingdom of heaven? Or we are talking about the Sierra Private Limited? We forget. The whole thing is about deliverance. We need to be delivered. But the unfortunate part is, when that deliverance is in process, we don't recognize it. That's when we even become worse. When we are supposed to see God coming, you are confronting God. Now we need to talk to God. You need to listen to God. That's when you say, not me. Musiaria cannot do this to me. Never. Not in my life. You are seeing Musiaria. You are not feeling the presence of God. As Christians, as Methodists, where are we? What is it that makes us to quiet? Why do we quiet? Do we recognize the presence of God in all our dealings? When we are in difficult situations of our own, we also test God and say, but where is this God? Is this God amongst my family? Is God with me? Or does this God even know that I exist? We question God. And we have forgotten what God has done for us, what God is doing for us, what God is intending to do for us. We all forget that. We enjoy quarreling than enjoying praising God. Being in this situation, Moses decided to say, yes, what do I need to do? And he realized that I only need to talk to only one person and one person. Verse 4 says, he cried to the Lord and said, what will I do with this? Brothers and sisters, when we are in those difficult situations, who do we cry to? Who do we turn to? Most of the time, instead of praying about the situation, we ask for advice from our friends. And the friends will tell you, that should not happen to you. You go and do this to him. You go and do this to them. But Moses said, Lord, what do I do? If I have issues with his trouble, I should go to Lord and say, Lord, here is Ishmael. We have these differences. What should I do? And God will say, this is what you need to do. But we ask for advice. Maybe our athletic advisors, maybe our best friends, our uncles and aunts. But one thing for sure, you will never be given an advice that makes you reduce those differences. It's actually to escalate them. Because you must come or you must emerge as the victory. The whole thing is I must win. But God is not about winning, it's about deliverance. That's how God moves. Not about who has spoken a lot. It's the deliverance. In verse 5, says Moses, go before the people, take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand your staff that you smoke the Nile River and go. What is the significance of this staff? We're sure now we call it teamwork. We call it account or apostle. The whole church membership, they've got those sticks. I don't know what it is for them. But in this context, that had become a symbol of authority for Moses. Question today is, as Christians, what is our symbol of authority? Our symbol of authority is the Bible. Question is, are we going to use that symbol of authority the right way or the wrong way? We all know what is happening in us. Some are using the Bible correctly. Some we can't judge. Second, there was this similar scenario in Numbers. Again, the problem of water. The same stuff was used to get water out of the rock. But because God had instructed Moses to go and speak to the rock, Moses decided to hit the rock. As much as the water came out, but there was implications on Moses' life. Because that was not the instruction. So I'm saying, when we use this Bible as Christians, are we using it correctly? Because this is our symbol of authority. If you go to a person and say, we have come to you to pray with you, obviously you need to open your Bible. And you read a verse that is appropriate to the situation the person is going through. And to us today, when you are going through some stuff, we are in a fallen wilderness. What symbol of authority in who we turn to? The Bible in verse 6 says, God said to Moses, behold, I will stand before you at that rock in Horeb, and you will smack the rock, and the water will come out. Obviously, when we are at this stage, the whole problem was what? Water. So the solution is there. They were crying for water. Now the water is there. What next? The lesson we get from this is that if you cry to the Lord and you are using the correct symbol of authority, your prayers will be answered. God will give you a new lease of life. You have had issues in your life. You get to a point where you're saying, no, for me, I'm a failure. I am not moving forward. I've done enough. I have seen enough. I can't. God is saying to someone today, can we meet at Horeb? I'll give you a new lease of life. My daughters, my sons, at 21, you want to give up? These people were, some of them were about 70 years, but after 70 years, they spend 40 years in wilderness. You are 21, you want to give up. What have you seen? Are you turning to the right person? Are you using the right authority? This is your time. Let's meet at Horeb. There is nothing impossible with God. Like I said, some people want to cry through singing. That's the way they talk to their God. Some want to cry to God through dancing. That's the way they talk. Some want them to do the physical crying. Do that, but you must remember, who are you doing that? So whatever situation you may be going through, just give it to God. There is nothing impossible. And God will use simple people. God will use simple resources to give you a solution. You don't need complicated scientists. I'm not an engineer. I'm not expressing engineers. But you don't need science. No. After all, that science is coming from God. But God will continue to use simple people, simple things to resolve your issues. Some will be telling you that no, that rock was water was already flowing through that rock. Yes, I say if you're a believer, you do that. But just this stick made water to come out. What is so difficult with your issues? What is impossible with your issues? That God cannot resolve. How unique are you that God can resolve your issues? God has big plans for you. The absence of one thing in your life does not mean your life is completely destroyed. Just remember that. One thing only is not the end of your life. And you may be worrying yourself with things that don't exist. You are assuming you have a problem when you don't have a problem. Yet the problem is yourself. You are giving yourself to say, I have a problem. You don't have a problem, my daughter. Pray to God. God will give you direction. Simple things, basic things will provide solutions. As we conclude, verse 1 says to us, there is nothing under the commandment of. So when we read most of the cases, when you talk about this story of wilderness, to us these people were lost. But the truth is, for me, they were not lost. God had a certain plan for them and needed them to recognize His presence and authority. You can be wandering in the same place, it doesn't mean you are lost. God is saying, I want you to face that direction. You are going the wrong direction, so you won't proceed until you face that direction. And that is what some of us want to do. You think a degree in civil engineering is your best. No. 3 years in first year, you are wondering in the same class as you. Same class. God is saying that is not what I have planned for you. Your problem is not the lecture. You are taking a wrong direction. I have a direction for you. Don't say, this God does not recognize me. This God does not. Why am I failing? I'm still first year. My other friends have already graduated. Yeah, because maybe you are made for theology. But you are running away from God. Just remember, God has a plan for you. And He says in Psalm 50, call upon me in the day of trouble, I shall rescue, and you honor me. So if you are in a place of trouble, before you do anything, call upon God. God takes us into difficult situations. God takes us into difficult environments, into difficult places, because He wants us to call upon Him so that His name may be honored, may be glorified. Not for only God to say, oh, I was facing this situation. I managed to go and see this lecturer. I managed to go and see this principal. And then I was made a department. No, that's not God's plan. God's plan is to say, glorify my name, and I'll show you the direction. What you are thinking on your own is not God's plan. Call upon God. When people of God say amen.